What's going on? Alfie here, creator of masterthemixing.com, back with another action-packed video that's not really that action-packed. It's actually quite mundane and quiet because I'm sitting down the whole time. Now, compression 101. I've spoken about compression numerous times, but this video is just going to be dedicated to actually explaining compression as best that I can. It's going to be a short vid. So let's get right into it. So to help me explain compression, I've just soloed one track. It's a sample loop. I'll just play it out for you first without the compressor doing anything. Okay, so that's what we're working with. Now, let's jump right into the compressor. Now, this is a stock compressor from Logic, the Studio FET preset version. Now, I'm going to try and explain every knob. Bear with me if I struggle to explain it properly, or if you don't understand, just leave comments in the description and I'll answer you if you've still got any questions left over after this description. So, right, firstly on the left, we've got input gain. And we've got input gain knob. What this is going to tell you is how loud the signal is coming into the compressor in the first place. So how loud the sample is playing into the compressor. So as you can see, the left and the right are the same right now because the compressor's not doing anything. As the volume is coming in, the volume is going out the same amount. So that's what this is. And input gain, if you want to turn up the volume that's coming in before the compressor is doing anything, you can do that. And output gain is the same thing. If you want to turn up the volume after what the compression is done, then you can do that. So that's what output gain and the input gain and the bars are for. So you get a visual. You visually get to see what you've done to your signal with the compressor. Okay, so moving over from left to right, we've got the gain reduction meter here. What this is showing you is how much gain reduction is happening, how much compression is happening, or in a very basic sense, how much volume is being cut, how much volume is being like squashed and flattened. That's kind of what the gain reduction is. So anything past the threshold, passes the threshold, gets up to about -6 dB, comes back. What that's basically saying is that anything that past that threshold is being turned down. It's being turned down by about -6 dB, and then as it goes back to that threshold level of volume, it's just the compressor stops because it's not past the threshold. So again, the threshold determines when the compressor begins to activate and when it begins to start to flatten the volume of whatever is past it. That's how a compressor really works in hindsight. You set a volume level. Any volume that goes past that level starts to get bent, so that volume isn't as loud anymore. And the overall effect of that is that you can then boost the overall volume, and the quieter parts of whatever you're compressing can be brought louder because the louder parts of whatever you're compressing are being compressed and flattened by the threshold. So yeah, this is just going to be showing you how much volume is being sort of cut back as it's passing the threshold. Now, the threshold obviously is the volume level. You set this to determine at what point of volume you want the compressor to start compressing. So I'd normally do this last. I'd normally have it on 0, do my other settings, and then bring it down until I start to see some gain reduction. Ratio is how intense the compressor is going to compress, how strong of a compressor it will be, like how sharp the volume will be turned down. So let's say I've got a 4:1 compressor. Yeah, any volume that goes past the threshold is going to be immediately body slammed back down with a 4:1. In perspective to a 1.5, that any volume that goes over the 1.5 ratio, it will still get brought down, but it's not going to be slammed like how with 4:1 would be. It's just going to be a bit more softer, a soft flattening. So that's what ratio controls how strong the compressor comes in. Normally for drums you want higher ratios, and for like vocals and other things, instruments, you want a bit lower, so you gotta sort of play with that. Makeup. So when you do compress, you're gonna lose some overall volume. All the makeup gain knob does is basically just restore that volume that you've lost from compressing. I like to do that myself, so I normally have auto gain off. You've got attack and release. I think auto attack and release is better when you have things like instrumentation or pads, just where there's just a lot of movement. Things like drums and that is probably better that you set it yourself because you know the sort of speeds. But anyway, the attack is how fast the compressor starts to activate. So if it's on 0.0 milliseconds, as soon as the signal comes into the compressor, it's compressing. But if it's on like 200 milliseconds, after 200 milliseconds have passed since the signal being in the compressor, that is when it will then start to begin to compress. It doesn't compress straight away, so you can control how fast you want it to activate. You might want to do that when you want more of the body to be flattened in a signal, like maybe guitar. There's in the middle, there's a guitar, there's a riff that's really loud, so you might set the attack a bit later so that the beginning of the guitar doesn't get compressed, and then when it is time for it to be compressed, it'll be compressed. And the release is similar as well. The release just pretty much dictates how long the compressor will be active for once it's started. So you know, if you've got a really short sound like a kick or a snare, you don't want the release to go on forever because the snare sound finishes quickly, and then you want the compressor to finish and go back to whatever else is happening. But you know, you might have something long, something a bit longer, like a long bass line or a long 808 note or something like that you might want to compress for it to be more consistent. You might increase the release. So that's how that works. These other things here, you don't really need to worry about them. They're just a bit advanced. Each compressor will have extra things that can just do stuff that I'm not going to get into right now. But I do explain in a hell of a lot more detail in my beat mixing secrets course, which you can check out the link for that in the description below. And of course, last but not least, there's side chaining, but again, I'm not going to get into that here. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed that video. Hopefully that's made compression seem a little bit more understandable. Before I go, actually, I'm just going to do some compressing to the sample. So I don't actually feel like it needs any compression, but just to show you. So let's say I just wanted to kind of make it more consistent, bring up the lower sounds and kind of just flatten it and squash it together. I might give it a ratio of about 2 to 1, 2.1 to 1. Do the makeup at the end. Might give it an attack of about 10. It's not really a fast transient, it's consistent, and the release, I'll give it a fairly long release because it's continuous, and then as I play, I'm just gonna bring down the threshold and see how it sounds. So now it's being compressed really a lot. They say the rule of thumb is around -6 dB is kind of the sweet point, but again, go by your ears. But I'm just going to follow that here. So it's bouncing around -6 dB reduction. So I'll just give that about -5 dB makeup to make up for the lost volume. And let's see what that sounds like. What that's actually done in this is because the sample's got drums in it, it's brought the drums out a bit more. You can hear the kick and the little kind of hi-hat-ish sound in the sample, the original sample, a bit better. What I'm gonna do actually is just turn up the ratio to compress it a bit harder. I might have to bring the threshold back up for that though. Yeah, you can hear the drums a lot more clearly. Whereas opposed to, and the bass line you can hear more clearly when it's compressed, as opposed to this where it's just more the vocal. Now this sounds like a song by itself. It doesn't sound like a sample. Like it sounds like I've made this song and put a voice on it. Whereas now it's not as apparent. But yeah, so that's compression 101. There will be more in this series. But literally for the best compression explanations and tutorials and all of that ever, check out my beat mixing secrets course. Again, in the description, you're gonna want to check that out, or you can just go to masterthemixing.com and that will be there. So yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you want me to talk about next, what you're struggling with in mixing, and I will try and get that made. I just really want you to kind of be the best producer and engineer really that you can be, like, and just kind of make the best music possible, really. So I'm always gonna try to get these videos done. I'm on a everyday sort of rotation right now. It's a bit harder, but I'm gonna try and keep an everyday video going for a while. And yeah, man, for content, for community and all of that. So yeah, man. So Alfie, mastermix.com. Take care.